All right. Hello, everyone. Let's get started with today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining. We hope everyone is healthy and well. Today, we will be providing a live demonstration of the Instant Quoting Engine. Greg, the Director of Application Engineering at Xometry, will be walking through what's new and how to work through supply chain uncertainty during this time. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Serena, and I'm on the marketing team here at Xometry. You may have gotten emails from me or read my blog posts or case studies, and today I'll be facilitating the webinar and helping out with our live Q&A. Speaking of which, please submit your questions throughout the webinar in the question box for Greg to answer at the end. I will be monitoring them as they come in, so please submit them at any time. After the webinar, we'll send you a webinar recording, and please stick around for a special discount code at the end. Next, I want to introduce Greg. He is the Director of Application Engineering at Xometry, and you may know him as Xometry Greg from our popular Will It Engineering Challenge videos. He is an expert panelist and speaker on all things subtractive as well as additive manufacturing, and he also produces a lot of our design tip videos, podcasts, and thought leadership blog posts. So thanks again for tuning in, and don't forget to submit your questions in the question box. Over to you, Greg.
Hey, thanks, Serena. Yeah, we don't have the visual cues right now. This is kind of fun. But yeah, again, thank you so much for joining today. I want to talk about Xometry and show you some of the things that are new on the site if you're familiar with Xometry, as well as if you are new to it, just how to walk through and some of the key tips to take away from our website, from our content, and how to really master this manufacturing on demand, especially with volatile supply chains going on right now. Xometry is a very robust system. I'm also going to show some integrations that we have, and please add questions within your interface. You'll see a question section. Please go ahead and write questions as we go along. Serena's going to keep notes of all these, and we're going to go through Q&A. And I'm happy to take a lot of time on Q&A, and this could be any question about Xometry itself, or even manufacturing, additive manufacturing technologies. We're happy to help. So let's just talk about this. What is Xometry? What do we do? And Xometry is a solution to a supply chain where if you're used to sourcing a part, a lot of times you're reaching out to those people maybe 4 or 5 people. You're shooting out a CAD package and just waiting. And you're waiting for that lead time. You're waiting for that price. You're waiting for any manufacturability feedback on this. And it is just time consuming and labor consuming. At the same time, there are very capable manufacturers out there that are also doing the same thing. They're spending a lot of time creating quotes that may not be actionable, or they're completely capable of doing needed work, but they don't have the connection to that customer. So Xometry has created this service. It's called Manufacturing as a Service. And we have been able to inject technology right up front in this process. So with Xometry, you are uploading a CAD design, and it is providing instantaneous pricing and lead times with 11 different manufacturing technologies under our belt right now, and more to come. And you're able to configure your quotes, so not just a prototype, but even to production specifications, get all this feedback instantaneously, and check out like it's any regular e-commerce system. And the power of this is that we are actually connected and backed by over 3,000 manufacturing partners that are fulfilling the work as a part of Xometry's manufacturing partner network. So we're able to pair the needs, the lead time, and the specs of your job with those partners who are best able to produce it automatically. So those partners get work that they want to do, and you're able to get the lead times and costs that you want to hit for this project. So we've created a marketplace system where you just go to one shop, and you're able to get all these different manufacturing technologies with nearly unlimited parallel capacity. So I also wanted to talk just kind of elephant in the room, talking about supply chains in general. Obviously, we've all been affected with COVID-19. I'm not sure if you see the background here is the best corner of my basement. And we at Xometry have had multiple technologies in play with this. So we've been working with customers and other organizations to develop items like personal protective equipment. I know a lot of you have seen like face shields, visors, adapters for actually MacGyvering, if you will, some equipment that's not meant for a particular medical purpose and bringing it up. For example, moving PPAP, or not moving PPAPs, CPAP machines into ventilators, and as well as making different brands of materials match together. So we have some adapters that we've been producing for that, but we're able to do this on-demand manufacturing just based off that CAD geometry. And again, we're controlling that supply chain, so we're able to find those suppliers versus this massive search that's going on right now. Xometry also has scalable technology, so I put some pictures here to kind of show different 3D printing technologies as well as other technologies here, and just kind of show you from scalability. You know, if you have a small part that, you know, this part about the size of my, you know, my 2 fingers here, we can nest a lot of those in builds like SLS, so laser centered 3D printing nylon, and produce a lot of those at once. Some bulkier items you can produce a little bit less. So I have some mask sets here, but this would be considered like an overnight build with Xometry's capabilities, to kind of show you some of the scale that you're looking at. And then of course, you know, we have some shield visors. And I wanted to point out here, we also have technologies that can just scale orders of magnitude more. So we've been working on a face shield that is 100% PET sheet. And this is actually me modeling it off right here. But this type of product, because it is taking a traditional manufacturing technology, die cutting, we're able to produce over 10,000 units a day with that. So we're able to not only work with those, hey, will it work prototypes, but also work with solutions that can truly scale to fit some of these immediate needs going on. So, you know, everybody's had a change of life over the last several weeks. Xometry, we've been working through keeping business as usual, as well as updating our website and system. I'm going to show you some of this live, and we're going to get to the live demo as quickly as I can here, because the site really shows it for you. But we added a new user onboarding system that's been streamlined to help those users who are kind of in a help me choose environment understand their processes better. We have Xometry Supplies, which is actually a storefront for manufacturers. So if you're looking for end mills, raw materials, Xometry Supplies, I used to say 118,000 SKUs. I think we're at like 140,000 plus SKUs now. Added some new materials to that as well, some steels and acetal or Delrin to our raw material stock. So if you're a manufacturer yourself or you have a manufacturing facility, Xometry Supplies can be a great resource for that. Xometry Finishing Services opened up. So we also know that you have other resources, and you may be getting raw material goods made by either your internal factory or by another facility. One of the things that is sometimes lacking is that post-processing finishing, like plating, part marking, anodize, chem conversion coatings, painting, powder coats. And we now open up Xometry Finishing Service, which is another application where you could have parts that aren't necessarily made with Xometry, but we're able to connect you with talented finishing suppliers directly, so you can get more specified work done, so more custom finishing done. So we have those supplies, the finishing, and of course the online manufacturing site, which I'll show you shortly here. And even over the summer, hey, we went to European here. We have Xometry Europe, really great team, awesome to work with what they've done, and they were actually part of a company called Shift, and now they are Xometry's European branch, and they are representing all of the EU, Switzerland, and UK for manufacturing. So that's very exciting right now. And I'll go over some of these on the quoting engine, but I love the new dashboard. I love some of the new options that we have for economy. We can now do finishes with economy options, which would be like an international manufacturing option, more certifications, increased inspection options, and just a better experience overall. So let's go check out the site. All right, so This is Xometry's homepage. By the way, if you haven't been to our site for a while, you also see it's got a nice little facelift to it. And I'm loving the new site here because it helps you go directly to what you are looking for. So we do offer 11 different manufacturing technologies. If you're looking for 3D printing services or injection molding services or sheet metal services, you can go directly to start a quote right from this page. Before I go to the Get a Quote site though, I do want to show some other great resources that you should check out. Definitely under the resources tab here, we have our FAQ, which is the go-to for any general questions, even if it's about how do I get set up in terms or how do I do tax exempt, that's going to be the place where you can go. You can also check out our blog, and kudos to Serena. Serena's been doing some amazing work with our customers who want to do some cross-promotional work and talk about the projects that have been successes with Xometry. So we have some amazing blogs, blog posts, and case studies coming through here. I've been doing some videos. If you're familiar with the Will It series, check out our latest video, the Will It Vibe, where we put several 3D printed materials, 9 different materials, to the test and actually compared them on how they went into kind of a homemade shock and vibe apparatus that we had. And of course, also check out our design guide. So for every manufacturing technology that we have a design guide available. This is really good because you may be the best CNC machine designer on the planet for CNC parts, but you may not know much about designing for direct metal laser sintering 3D printing. And these design guides are a terrific resource to jump into a new process or technology, understand its strengths, its limitations, and where you need to be considerate in your design approach. So definitely check out this this design guide page, and you can download any of these design guides here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to move to our Get a Quote page. And again, I want to remind you, if you do have questions, please feel free to write them in. I'm happy to answer any of these questions at the end of our presentation. So let me just click that page. All right, so we are at the Get a Quote page. You can see here, it's just waiting for CAD files. So our accepted file types include STEP, solid part, IPTs, parasolid files like XT or XB, and even things like PRT. So we take a wide variety of CAD, whether it's native CAD or converted CAD, and upload to our website. I will say we also do accept STLs, which are typically for 3D printing. It does limit what you can quote with that. So STL will only allow you to quote for 3D printed products or urethane cast products. Urethane casting makes the master pattern via 3D printing, which is why we can use that technology. But you cannot quote with the STL for example, for injection mold processes. And I'm saying that specifically because a lot of the designs in the COVID-19 response, like face masks, for example, and visors, are very viable for injection mold for high quantities. But a lot of those native files are STL files, so it's well worth your while, especially if you're looking to get within the thousands or tens of thousands to get a solid model like a STEP file for those type of quotes. So one of the things about this is I'm logged in under account here. Anything that I log in or that I upload is secured to my account, and I'm able to access this. So I actually have an inventory, a digital inventory called my parts library. I clicked add from upload, and you can see some of the parts that I have on this account. And I'm going to go ahead and grab, let me just grab this piece here, this case body, and add it. So that's it. We're done, guys. So this is how quickly it takes to get a quote. As soon as it uploads, we're interpreting the geometry of this part, and we're quoting out in our different manufacturing technologies. So what it's defaulting to is the least expensive process and material. So in this case, I uploaded this case body. It's about 3 by 2 by 3/4 of an inch here. And this case has quoted out at $20.45 and HP Multijet Fusion, a 3D printing powder bed fusion technology. So that would be the cheapest option that we can do. And you can see here, you can see some details, including the process, finish, and material. I'm going to go ahead and show you a few different options that we have available and walk you through how to configure your quote further. Because we can prototype, we could also do spec manufacturing. I'm going to click modify part. So a few things on this modify part screen. This is really where you are making your love letter to your manufacturer. You're building the configuration in which you want to receive when you open up your Xometry package. I could take a look and review my 3D file. I could add drawings here, so I have a little drawing already added to this part file that's saved on my part library. I could change quantities on the fly, and then of course I could select for my different processes. So I clicked on process, and you can see here, even under 3D printing, we have 7 unique manufacturing processes. And then we have CNC machining, injection mold, sheet metal, and urethane casting. But I wanted to show you some cool stuff while we're here, because we did just add some really unique materials processes. So we're already in HP Multijet Fusion. We have nylon 12 here. But we also just added different materials, so nylon 11 and TPU 95A. We have had a glass fill variant since the introduction of HP Multijet Fusion on our site, but now we have 4 different HP materials available. I know the screen's a little small here, but the TPU is really interesting. Think like tire tread or skateboard wheel on this. So it is flexible, but if you have thicker areas to it, it is still relatively stiff. So you can see this thin area here. I could go ahead and kind of twist it around there, but thicker areas are relatively stiff to it. So it's a really interesting material. Something like if you think shoe soles or something that needs to be flexible like a rubber, but like more like a ruggedized, like a skateboard wheel. This is a fantastic material for that. I also want to show you one of my favorite additions, which we've been doing for a while, but we haven't auto-quoted, which is under stereolithography. So this is a photopolymer process. It's actually 3D printing parts by curing a liquid resin. We have a bunch of different materials, but one of our most common ones is accurate clear view. And that's because it's one of the most clear materials available for order. That being said, when you order a standard finish, we usually on SLA parts will give it an overall matte look. We'll actually bead blast that because it gives the same surface roughness around the part. Well, we finally have added a finish called Quick Clear to the website that will essentially instruct our manufacturers to not just grow that 3D printed part, but also do a clear coat at the on the upper layer of it. And what that'll do is give you a remarkably clear part for a relatively low cost. I love it because it auto quotes. So it'll instantly quote on our website as soon as I apply it. Boom, I have a price right up here on the site. And very often in your bill of materials, you may find a need to have a clear part, whether it's a display model or just something that will eventually be molded in polycarbonate. That Quick Clear our option is an awesome choice. And it just allows you to work business as usual, have all your multiple parts up. Some may be SLA, some may be selective laser sintered, and you could just add that to custom finish right away and just move the checkout. If you do have a more custom finish, every single one of our options does have the ability to type in custom and give your description right down there, and you could save properties and submit that to our quoting team for review. So we do custom as well. Even if there's a material like for CNC machine that you want to have, we could do that. So just understand that it's there, but so many options on our site do auto quote. So I have all these different 3D printing materials, but I'm looking at this part, round internal corners, kind of bulky on the outside here. I'm guessing that this is a CNC machine part. So let's move it to CNC machining. I'm going to click this. I'm going to move it to aluminum 6061, our most common CNC machine material. And boom, pricing updates instantaneously. So you can see I also have an expedite and economy option. So economy would be made in China. The expedite option does shave off lead times at an extra cost. And all this is dynamic. So instead of these please quote quantity 5, 10, 25, 50, 100, if you really just need 17, type in 17, press update, boom, you got your price. So at 17, I can see my price right away on this piece here. if this wants to be more specified, so I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. Let's say, for example, these are actually installed helicoil inserts. I could actually choose that right there. Again, price updates automatically. And let's go ahead and make this a little bit fancier here. So I love blue anodize. It's just one click away. And now I have a part that I'm going to go ahead and save my properties here to show you that if I press order right now, April 28th, I'll have this part here, blue anodized, 6 installed helical inserts, a 6061 aluminum 2 spec. So it's a very, very powerful site. If I wanted to go ahead and add more parts, you could click, drag, and upload, or add them directly to the website here. And again, it's just a couple clicks away. Let's make a matching set here, and there we go. Like I said, you can look at the expedite. That'll shave off more than a week here, and then economy is kind of the opposite of expedite. If you're not in a rush, you could save a lot of money. In this case, over 50% by moving to an economy option.
And just popping in here, Greg, to give a time warning, we have 7 minutes till
Perfect.
1. So we'll move along to the questions soon.
Awesome here. So the last thing I want to show on the site, because the site is just so powerful in itself, and like I said, once you use it, it's extremely intuitive, and you're able to drive this drive through and make custom quotes right away. If you are working on any export control or ITAR work, click this checkbox. This is going to instantly label the parts on this quote as export controlled ITAR controlled parts. They will be chartered through our ITAR network. So that checkbox is very, very important, especially if you're working on defense, aerospace, or military projects. If your PO requires COCs, click away. Hardware traceability, I'm putting inserts in, click away, and material certs, the same thing. If you do require material certs up front, please make sure to click material certification and apply that to the quote. It is much, much easier for us to get them certification up front than for us to attempt to retrieve it after the project is complete. So it's just an easy checkbox to add that level of certification. The other thing I wanted to show is that if you are sharing this with your purchaser, this PDF button right here will create a beautiful PDF for you to share with your purchaser, and they can go and order through Xometry support line or directly with our account representative. So this is probably the easiest way from our experience with an engineer creating the quote and then communicating with their purchasing team for an order. All right, so let's rock back here. So everything I just showed you, by the way, is available and is integrated within 2 CAD platforms right now, and we hope to expand to more. So we do have Autodesk Inventor add-ins, and recently we've upgraded from an add-in for SolidWorks to actually work with the Solid Systems and being part of the 3D Experience Make Marketplace. So now Xometry is the part provider for machine components and more on the SolidWorks 3D Experience Marketplace, and that's good for CATIA and other DSS platforms. So definitely go ahead and check that out, and you should be able to access the marketplace without requiring a download add-in. So please keep your questions coming here. I see a few are coming in, but to recap, one shop, one vendor, Xometry can produce custom and prototype CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, plastics. We could help scale up to injection molding, or we could just 3D print one-offs for you. We do urethane casting for high fidelity ruggedized components, and we also do metal 3D printing. So we have all these capabilities available with just the requirement of a 3D model. I did mention the share for purchasers. Again, it's worth reiterating. This is probably the easiest way to communicate, and it does have a nice structured PDF. It also allows you to take a look down and make sure that all the specifications that you're looking for in your order are selected through the site. If you have any questions, we have dedicated account representatives as well as engineering teams, including teams like myself, we are application engineers, to help you better understand how to set up the quote or even help set up that quote for you. as well as help you find the strengths and trade-offs. For example, if you are a high expedite need, or you need something a little bit more custom, we're able to take a look at that. We have expert teams that are able to review your quote and work with you to hit your goals. Some other things about Xometry. We are AS9100. We build aerospace parts day and night here, literally day and night here. We are ISO 9001 as well. And of course, we're ITAR registered, including our ITAR partner network. On our network itself, if you're doing something like a medical mold project, we do have molders that are ISO 13485, as well as molders with clean rooms available. So we can, class 7, class 8 clean room, we can access that as well. But again, we can do this all in parallel. So while you're prototyping your next project, we can work on your production lines, work through purchase order agreements and structured shipments. We manage the supply chain. All you need to worry about is getting that quote and when to receive that box to your front door. Any questions that you have, if you quote online, you're going to meet your dedicated account representative. They're going to shoot out a message to you. But support@xometry.com and this phone line is your catch-all. It'll that one line is where you can send purchase orders as well as ask any questions you may have. It'll get routed very quickly to the person that will best answer that question and take action on your project. And Serena, yeah, we have some promos, right? So yeah, we have instant on the checkout page. I didn't show you the checkout page, but it looks like a standard e-commerce page here. Yeah, put in instant, save $50. It's that easy. And of course, we have our referral program. So if you go up to the upper right hand of your get a quote page, you'll see a refer option there, and it'll give you a unique link that you could go ahead and send to your colleagues. And we have a credit referral program so that if your colleague orders, you'll get credits that you could use against your next order. So very good way to spread the word of Xometry as well as help pay for some of your prototyping needs. So, well, Serena, I'm looking on the right-hand side here. I see some questions coming in. So yeah, let's start rolling.
Yep, we have lots of questions. So let's start out with some capability questions. Does the software recognize simple turning jobs versus multi-axis CNC jobs? Yes.
So part of the secret sauce of Xometry is we are using machine learning and data science to interpret that CAD geometry and determine the pricing. And we do have ways to determine if something, for example, is a live tooling lathe job, a Swiss turn, even like there's a difference between a live tool and Swiss turn, or just a standard axial turning job. And you're going to see that price difference occur because obviously the simpler the part is, the price is going to be lower. In fact, you can see dramatically lower prices on some very simple CNC parts from this. If you do have knurling, you can model it in. However, the best approach for knurling, and this is the same with threads and tapped holes, is to use the appropriate diameter. So for a threaded hole, that would be the minimum drill diameter for that threaded hole. For knurling, the same thing. You're going to just keep that outer diameter, the maximum outer diameter for that, and call it out on your drawing. So attach a drawing. You could use the note section on the quote page to write that out, and we'll take it from there. So that's what I recommend. Usually, like modeling threads, modeling knurling, we're going to look at your drawing anyways. So you just need to call out that there is threads or there is knurling, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome, thanks. And what about materials? Do you have medical grade stainless steel?
Yeah, so 316L, 17.4, 304 steels. We have titanium, so grade 2 and grade 5 titanium auto quoting on our instant quote site for CNC machining. You know, a lot of times you use that word medical's application, so we can instantly quote that. We can even quote things like PTFE and PINK and PEAK with CNC machining. Just note if there is any regulations or any standards that you also need to hit, because a lot of times when you say the word medical, there may be oh yeah, we could cut it, but it also needs to be run in this type of environment. Make sure that we're explicit up front, working with your account representative or support@xometry.com, and we'll make sure that that quote is appropriate for what you're looking for.
Awesome. Similar question here. Can you quote multi-material parts? For
Yes.
example, an
Oh, go
aluminum
ahead.
urethane overmolding.
Yeah, so that would be the best way to do that is if you do have the substrate model. So that would be, custom, custom CNC machined, or sometimes the sheet metal if you're doing like a bumper bracket. And then if you have the overarching model, which would be that combination, you could choose those unique materials. You will need to submit that for review, so we create the quote appropriately for that assembly and that overmold. That goes the same with injection molding. For all our injection molding, it is a submission. You're going to be talking probably to Kira from our team, who's like the most amazing person when you're talking to injection molding. She'll walk you through everything. And the same thing, we're going to take that pragmatic approach, make sure that we're getting the scope and the needs of your project, and then we're going to get a quote to you as quickly as possible. Because a lot of those times there's a little bit of conversation based off your needs, whether it's a cosmetic requirement, a functional requirement, or a material choice requirement.
Awesome, thanks. And continuing with a few more capabilities questions, you kind of covered this, but how do you get a quote for assembly processes? And mentioned we also have CAD engineers and applications engineers on staff, correct?
Yeah, so our engineers on staff are there to help, as well as our account leads, who you'll be contacting with if you're working through quotes. For assemblies, the best path forward is to get those 3D models up and specified for each discrete mechanical component. Since each discrete component is custom manufactured, they do have to be their own line item. You can't just upload the assembly file. In fact, it'll actually block if it's a assembly or a step exported assembly. So use those unique files and reach out to our team if we do need to put an assembly line item. Most of our assemblies are things like jigs and fixtures, or if there's something that's like an installed assembly, for example, adding inserts, adding PEMs to sheet metal parts, that type of work is extremely common for us.
All right, let's move on to some more logistical things here. Do we service Canada?
Yes, absolutely. We love our neighbors to the north. So yeah, that's go ahead, quote to your heart's content.
And what about IP sensitive projects? Can Xometry sign NDAs? What are the terms and conditions Xometry has for rights to designs after uploading?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is an important question. It is your IP. So we are your manufacturer. And in no way are we owning your intellectual property. We're here to make the parts on your behalf. So when you upload your site to our site is secure. It's actually secured via GovCloud, which is the same file transfer system that's used by government, including some cleared work there. And we treat every project with the highest confidentiality. If you want to sign an NDA, we do that again all day long. We have so many customers working through Xometry. You can either send us your NDA to support@xometry.com. Our contract specialist will review and execute and send back your way. Or if you go to our FAQ page, so in our resources FAQ or at the bottom of the page, just type in NDA. The first hit you're going to get is going to be a download form where you can download Xometry's mutual NDA. And again, execute that, send it over to support. We'll get you taken care of.
Awesome. So we'll do a few more questions. If we don't get to your questions, please feel free to reach out to Greg directly. You have his email on screen there. And Greg will reach out as well for any follow-ups, particularly for any specific projects that you have. All right, moving on to CAD. What happens if you have files for the product but not a good CAD file? What do you do?
So I'm gonna jump over to a let me see if I got my dashboard here. Let me go to new quote here. I don't have my dashboard up on this. So we're A/B testing our dashboard. So I'm playing roulette right now on whether or not my dashboard's here. But we do have a on-demand CAD design site partner called Zverse. And if you go to Xometry's homepage here, and that question is answered a lot of times in our FAQ. So if you say like, if you look for I don't have a design file, you'll see some of these, and each one of these links here will show you how to go ahead and get a Zverse design quote. So if you do have, for example, a 2D PDF and you're looking to make it into a 3D model, this is a great resource. They're very economical to work with. Or if you do have a design that's it's good, but you're not ready for prime time yet, you need to bring it up to the next level. This is also a great resource. So I highly recommend checking that out as well.
And what about if you do have a CAD file, but it only has basic dimensions? Can you still get in a quote with those limited details?
Yeah, all we need is the CAD to start. So every single process that we have has its own manufacturing standards. So again, this resources page, I really mean it's super handy. So under manufacturing standards here, you're going to see per manufacturing process. So for example, CNC machining, plus or minus 5 thousandths tolerances. This is an angularity tolerance over the length of the part, but you can see what the general tolerances are expected if you just upload a CAD and we're building it based off that 3D model. So this is a very good resource from the get-go to understand what the outcome will be if you upload that model. If you do have tighter tolerances on those parts, you can further specify tight tolerances within our instant quote page. So if you have multiple tolerances under 5 thou, you have a 1 thou here or there, or 2 thou, you can specify that on our instant quote page, as well as specify specific inspection instructions. So I do have, let me see if I have, on our get a quote page, you'll see this, and we do have different levels of inspection. So this is a CNC inspection instructions here. So if you're looking for just the standard inspection, you're not going to receive a report. The second one down is you'll receive a report that you'll have like a listing of your dimensions and the measurements. Sometimes if you have stuff like a surface profile tolerance or just a bunch of true positions, you're going to need to do CMM. So we have CMM inspection, FII inspection, and if you just have a custom, like for example, 100% inspected inspection requirement on 2 or 3 dimensions, click that custom inspection, put that in the notes, send it to our team, and we'll make sure to accommodate that within the quote.
Awesome. Here's a question I haven't heard before. Can you quote a part using hex docs?
Yes, so that's where that magical custom link comes in. So on our website, and Serena, by the way, I don't mind if we go a little longer here because there is some. I'll just show this really quickly here. I'm going to take a part that is totally not hex because I don't have a hex part here, but just to kind of show you, for example, so say you had a part that you're making out of, say this is actually a tube extrusion. It's really helpful if you know what that link is or where to get it or where you'd like to be sourced. It just helps us out immensely on that. But under material, every material and finish that we have has a custom option to it. So under custom here, and say extruded tube per, and then say whatever your source is. There's a lot of extrusions in McMaster, and save that out. It's going to push you for a request manual quote. When you submit that, our team's going to look at that. They're actually going to look up that part ID or source that part or that specific stock, like a hex stock, a spline stock, etc., and incorporate that within the quote.
And similarly, while you're in there, can you show how you would specify unmachined surfaces?
Unmachined surfaces. So that would be on a drawing. That's usually for like an extruded material. So the best way to do that is actually put up the final model as you'd have it and have an accompanying drawing. So you want to attach a drawing to that, just calling out the spaces, saying this could be left unmachined.
Okay, great. Let's talk about 2 more capabilities questions. Can you make copper bus bars with plastic overmold?
I would have to see the project. So the short answer is we've done connectors. I've done like a copper connector with Ultim overmold projects for kind of battery docks and battery casings. So it's something we'd want to take a look at. And that's definitely, again, that's usually a conversation where you want to get those files to our team, either one of our account representatives or support, and we'll make sure that we get you to the right place.
And is that a similar answer for this question? Would you have a manufacturer for a wide hand toothbrush for people with low grip strength?
So what we can do with that, I will say we do a lot of common manufacturing, and we have specialized manufacturers for different aspects. Brush manufacturing and textiles are two things that we do not have access to right now. As we're expanding our network, we're looking at different capabilities. But I do know this has also been very important with the COVID-19 response. Anything discrete and mechanical, I'm like, bring it in. And but if it's something like spun woven polypropylene or a gown or something like that, it's not something that our site currently offers. We're really focusing on this just discrete mechanical goods.
Awesome. And what about what method of payment can we take for international?
So we obviously will take a credit card and wire and anything like that to get set up on terms. So a lot of our larger organizations, they've set us up as a supplier, and we've set them up on terms. There is a credit app form that you can download from our FAQ page, or reach out to one of our reps, and they'll make sure to get you that information. And we need to get that form back in order to get you set up on terms. So a lot of times for international shipments too, you may be looking at a different style of account to ship, or shipping on your account. The same goes. So talk to support, and we can work through and make sure that you're qualified to put in your shipping account for shipping those materials. And that may go back to our Canadian friends as well. Same thing. Sometimes it's better because of duties, fees, and taxes to come from your account.
Awesome, thank you. So also want to remind everyone that this webinar will be linked in an on-demand recording. So look out for the follow-up email that will contain this.
Awesome.
2 more questions here, Greg.
Sure.
What type of volume price breaks does Xometry have, and what's our capacity?
All right, so capacity is huge. We are connected with those 3,000 manufacturers in the United States, 4,000, actually more like 4,500 globally. So we can scale, and we can work in parallel. So you could send multiple projects through different, if you have different job orders and things like that, you can send that in parallel. We'll take the bulk of it. We'll be able to distribute it to our manufacturing capacity all across the US. For reorders, repeat work, scalable work, we actually have mechanisms in place where your part will go back to that same supplier, so you get a consistent experience part to part as you're doing either reorder work or consistent ordered work. It's really important for me to know, because we're working on a network-based system. If you do have an item that is graduating from that product development phase to a released SKU in your ERP, for example, make sure that we have an idea of the estimated order volume once it's in production, and the estimated annual volume. That's usually, again, it's a conversation that our account leads may talk to you about. But what it does is to make sure that when we set up that first article, we're setting it up with a supplier that is that scalable capacity supplier to help grow with you and make sure that your experience is consistent. But yeah, our capacity, I can't understate it. We have the ability to do work. We're connected with so many shops that are just extremely talented, very capable, and they have a passion for making parts.
Awesome. And if you don't know where to start, if you don't know what process you need, who can help, or how can you find help?
So support@xometry.com is a good place. Also on our website, you may see you may see one of multiple faces pop up at you, and there's a live chat on Xometry's website, so you can go and check that out as well. And if you do want to speak to somebody, you can call our line at that 240-252-1138 number. And one of our support team will help walk you through, maybe get you in touch with an account representative. One of the cool things, by the way, that our account representatives do is if you do have a small team or if you have even a large team, we just flew up, well, right before everything happened over the last 6 weeks here, but we did a presentation for about 50 odd folks, but we love showing off the site. We can do mini webinars, kind of similar to what I've done today here for you. With an account lead and a small group, so you'll understand the process and we can answer more intimate questions about your project.
Awesome. And we also have resources on our website, like Greg mentioned in the beginning of the webinar. We have ultimate guides, design guides, all available on our resources tab for you to peruse and read about the processes before you get started on your project. So that's it from us. Again, Please feel free to reach out. We will have a follow-up email with Greg's contact information, a webinar recording, and we'll start preparing the next webinar for you all to attend as well. So Thank you so much. Have a great day. And thank you, Greg, for sharing all of your expertise.
Yeah, thank you so much for attending, and everybody take care. We're in together, and any questions you have, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to get you to the right person or answer them. Thank you.